Hi, this is Ryan Hoff with your AIC Legislative Minute for March 19th, 2021, brought to you by Bliss McKnight. This week, the General Assembly saw a great deal of focus on trying to find the final versions of bills, while the state budget is now coming to the forefront of discussion. And yet, even as we get late in session, new issues are often brought up via amendments. So, there are still many moving parts, including the date for the scheduled end of session. This week, the General Assembly amended their schedule with the intent to end legislative session a week early this year. House Bill 1123 addresses the balance of state-level authority during emergency declaration periods, with the General Assembly seeking the authority to call themselves into a special session. A companion bill, Senate Bill 407, involves some of the same goals, but also seeks to create a framework for the General Assembly to have a role in distribution of state disaster recovery funds. This would allow the legislature a say in further federal response funds, such as the CARES Act that we received at the end of last year, or the distribution of the new American Rescue Plan funds. This debate has been fairly intense because while we certainly hope to never have an occasion that warrants a long-term emergency response, these are discussions that can create a shift in the fundamental balance of legal authority in the state. House Bill 1123 passed the Senate Rules Committee this week, while Senate Bill 407 waits for a hearing in the House Rules. Senate Bill 5 echoes some of those same conversations, but in terms of local enforcement of health department enforcement actions in response to periods of emergency declaration. This bill would allow a person to appeal an enforcement action issued by a local health department during periods of declared public emergency. The appeal would be heard by the legislative body of the unit issuing the enforcement action. AIC testified this week to the need to clearly define when the appeal right is available so that the important day-to-day functions of the local health departments can continue, while allowing appeals when a public health emergency has been declared. This bill was heard in House Rules Committee this week and is anticipated back for an amendment and vote next week. Switching gears, House Bill 1164 would impact a county's ability to administer rights-of-way when utilities and specifically communication service providers seek to perform work in the right-of-way. This highly technical bill passed the House in the first half and has been the subject of continued negotiation ever since. The bill currently contains things like limits on how long a county has to consider a permit application, increased documentation requirements for permit fees, and allowance of some activities without a permit. AIC has been working on your behalf to improve the bill with input from the Indiana Association of Highway Engineers and Supervisors members. We are slowly making informal progress, but the bill language still contains several negatives with zero positives. We will continue to work on this bill, but we would love to hear your feedback on that legislation. With the announcement of a shortened session, the pace of legislative action has more urgency. Please continue to communicate with your legislators and have a great weekend. This has been the AIC Legislative Minute brought to you by Bliss McKnight.